Don woke up early the next morning, feeling anxious about the day ahead. He got dressed and headed to Cara's house, following the directions on his GPS to her house in the suburbs. "This is crazy to me. I can't believe Liz agreed to come after everything that happened between her and Marnie," Michelle observed. Cara poured herself a cup of coffee. "I know. It seems like she's genuinely worried about her. I can't say it's a bad thing." As the two of them continued to discuss what they wanted to say to Marnie, Cara heard her doorbell ring. "Oop, sounds like Don is here." Michelle put out her cigarette in the ashtray and waved the smoke out the window. Cara put down her cup of coffee and got up to answer the door. Cara opened the door to see a familiar face. "Good morning, Don," she smiled, opening the door wide enough so he could come in. "Beautiful house, Cara," he said, handing her a bouquet of flowers. "Of course I couldn't come empty-handed," he smiled. "Aw, thank you. These are lovely. Come with me to the kitchen." Cara took the flowers and closed the door behind him. They walked into the kitchen where he greeted Michelle. "Good morning, Michelle," Don smiled. "Hi, Don. Good morning. Beautiful flowers." Michelle stood up to greet him. "Would you like some coffee?" Cara asked, reaching for a cup in the cabinet. "Coffee, yes. That would be great," Don said, taking a seat next to Michelle. Don sat down at the kitchen table, still feeling anxious about what was to come. He accepted the coffee that Cara handed him and took a small sip. "Thanks for having me over, Cara." Cara smiled warmly. "Of course, Don. I'm just glad we could all get together to discuss this." Michelle nodded in agreement. "Yeah, we really need to form a game plan and think about what we're going to say to Marnie when we confront her about her behavior." Don nodded. "Yeah, I can't even imagine how Marnie is going to react when we all confront her about this." He ran a hand through his hair, feeling a sense of redemption. Cara sighed heavily. "I know. It's going to be difficult, but we just have to remember that we're doing this because we care about Marnie and want to help her." "Exactly," Don agreed, taking another sip of his coffee. "We need to be gentle and empathetic, but also firm in expressing our concerns about her behavior." "You're right," Cara said, furrowing her brow. "She could easily become defensive or shut us out if we attack her too harshly. We need to find a way to approach the situation in a way that isn't too confrontational." "Have you written anything down that you want to say in this meeting?" Michelle asked, looking down at Don's notebook. "Yeah, I've been brainstorming a few things. I just need to decide how to word them properly. We can all work together to write something that comes from a place of love and concern." Cara reached for a notepad and pen from the kitchen counter. "Let's start brainstorming. What do we all want to say to Marnie?" The three of them sat silently for a moment, each of them lost in thought. Cara broke the silence. "I think we should start by telling her how much we care and how worried we've been watching her spiral." Don nodded. "Yeah, exactly. And we need to be clear. This isn't an attack. We're not judging her. We just want to help her find her footing again." Michelle leaned in. "We also have to be honest about how it's affected us. Her behavior has taken a toll on all of us, and on the friendship." Don scribbled in his notebook. "Good point. She needs to hear that it's not just about her, it's about what we've lost too." Cara took a slow sip of coffee. "And we should offer real support. Not just words. Resources, options. Let her know we're here and we're serious about helping." Don nodded again, still writing. "Right. She needs to know she's not alone, that there's a way forward if she wants it." Michelle exhaled smoke, her voice softer now. "And we should say it plain. We just want her happy, healthy, whole again." Don paused, then jotted down the last line. "That's good. That's exactly how we end it." Don began writing everything down that they were discussing. He had written a paragraph so far that had read, "Welcome to your intervention, Marnie. We are very happy to have you here with us. We care about you, and we've been very concerned about your behavior. We've noticed a change in your behavior, and it's been worrying us a lot. We feel hurt and confused by your actions, and we want to help you get back on track." Don looked up from his notes and looked at Michelle and Cara, who were both deep in thought. Cara looked at Don's notebook, reading it over his shoulder. "That's perfect," Cara said, nodding in agreement. "It's honest and heartfelt, but not attacking. We should also make sure to express how much we want to help Marnie and support her through this difficult time," Don suggested. "Maybe we could say something like, 'We're here because we care about you and we want to help you get through this. We're not here to attack you or judge you, but rather to offer our support and assistance.'" "Yeah, that's good," Michelle chimed in. "Maybe we can say something like, 'We understand that you may need more help than we can provide, so we've gathered some resources for you to consider.'" "Excellent," Don said, writing down Michelle's suggestion. "And maybe we should also let her know that we're not giving up on her and we're here for her no matter what. Maybe something like, 'We're not going anywhere, Marnie. We care about you and we'll be here to support you every step of the way.'" "This is good," Cara said, reading over everything Don had written. Don looked down at his notebook, satisfied with what they had come up with so far. "Yeah, I think we've got a pretty good start here. We just need to fill in some more details and work on the wording a bit, but I think we're on the right track. I have a feeling that she's going to try to run away, so maybe one of us could sit next to her and make sure she's not going to pull any funny business. Cara shook her head. She might try to get up and leave if she thinks the environment is unsafe. We should try to do everything in our power to make it a calming environment for her. Michelle took a puff of her cigarette. Yeah, I can definitely see her trying to escape. We need to make sure we have someone close to her, ready to stop her if she tries anything. Don nodded in agreement. I can be the one to sit next to her. I'll make sure she doesn't try anything stupid. Okay, good, Don. That would help us a lot. If she sees some familiar faces, she should be okay, Cara nodded. Don nodded in agreement, feeling a bit more confident about the intervention now that they had a plan set in place. All right, so it's settled. We have a good start for what to say and who will sit next to Marnie. What else do we need to discuss? Timing, Michelle continued. We should also let the group know to have something written down that they'd like to say to Marnie. She's going to be feeling weak during this and will need some of her friends' support. We can do it here. It's private and comfortable. What about the time? Maybe like 6:30, 7 o'clock? After dinner? Michelle asked. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's plan to do the intervention at 7 then, Don confirmed. Cara glanced at the clock on the wall. That gives us many more hours to prepare. Cara picked up her phone from the counter. I'm going to go ahead and let the group know. The message reads, Hi all, just a reminder, we're getting ready for the intervention tonight at 7 at my place. If there is something you would like to discuss during the meeting, I suggest jotting down a few notes. The support of her friends during this meeting is important, so please write straight from your heart. Please arrive promptly and text when you get here. See you all soon. Does that look good? Cara asked, showing Michelle and Don her phone. Don read the text and nodded in approval. Yeah, that looks good to me. It's clear and concise. Cara went ahead and sent the message. Great, let's get Rebecca on the phone and let her know we're set for tonight. We can also read Rebecca what we've written and see if she has anything she'd like to add. Cara dialed Rebecca's number and put the phone on speaker, waiting for her to pick up. After a few moments of ringing, Rebecca answered the phone. Hello? Cara spoke into the phone. Hey Rebecca, it's Cara. We have some updates on the intervention for Marnie. Are you free to talk? There was a pause on the other end of the line before Rebecca spoke. Yeah, I'm free right now. What's up? Cara glanced at Don and Michelle before continuing. We've been brainstorming what we want to say to Marnie and have written down some notes. We were wondering if you had any thoughts or anything you'd want to add? Yeah, I have a few things I'd like to add. You can read the paragraph to me when you're ready. Don reads the paragraph aloud to Rebecca over the phone. There was a moment of silence on the other end of the line before Rebecca spoke up. That sounds really good, Don. You really captured the essence of why we're here and what we want to achieve with this intervention. Thanks, Rebecca, Don said, feeling a sense of relief. We're pretty confident with what we have so far. Is there anything you'd like to add or change? Rebecca thought for a moment before speaking. One thing I might suggest is adding something specific about Marnie's behavior and how it has affected each of you individually. That might add a more personal touch and make the message hit home a bit stronger. Don nodded, taking note of Rebecca's suggestion. Yeah, I see what you mean. That would definitely make the message more impactful. Rebecca sighed nervously. This is all very hard on me, but I'm just wondering the cause of this problem. Did you notice any signs that Marnie was using, besides the fact you witnessed it and all? Don took a moment to recall any potential signs he might have missed. I think in hindsight, there were some subtle signs, like she seemed more forgetful, and she would sometimes disappear for long periods of time without an explanation. It didn't really click for me until I caught her using it in the office that one day. I see. It's been a while since I've talked to Marnie. After her mom's funeral, she went completely cold turkey and stopped contacting me, Rebecca explained. Don nodded, feeling a mix of sympathy and understanding. Grief can be a heavy burden to carry alone, and sometimes people find unhealthy ways to cope. It's not your fault. Thank you for reaching out to me. This was definitely a wake-up call. I hope that it is at least a wake-up call for her, too. I hope so, too, Don said earnestly. We all care about Marnie, and we're here to support her through this. Hopefully this intervention will be the wake-up call she needs to get the help she deserves. I'm sure Marnie will appreciate knowing that you're all on her side and just want what's best for her, even if things get challenging during the intervention. We're expecting it to be emotional, and we're ready to stay calm and collected. We just want Marnie to hear us out and understand that we're coming from a place of love and concern, Don replied, feeling a mix of determination and nerves. Okay, Rebecca, we will be meeting at my house promptly at 7. Please prepare and I will send you my address, Cara smiled. Thank you for agreeing to do this with us. Rebecca smiled back through the phone. No problem, Cara. Thank you for reaching out. I will be there, she said and hung up the phone. Don, Michelle, and Cara exchanged glances, feeling a mix of anticipation and anxiety. They knew the intervention would be a trying experience, but they were also hopeful that their words would make an impact on Marnie and help her see the seriousness of her situation. "Well, I guess we're all set," Don said, breaking the silence. "We've got our notes written down, and Rebecca is on board." Michelle nodded, adding, "Now we just need to wait and see how Marnie responds when she gets here." Don glanced at the clock on the wall. "We still have a few hours left. Do you guys want to go grab some lunch or something before the intervention?" "Lunch?" Cara swallowed hard. "Yes, I was just thinking that. How about you, Michelle? Are you hungry?" she asked. Michelle nodded. "Yeah, I could definitely go for something to eat. Let's grab a quick lunch and then we can all get ready for the intervention later." "Great. Cara, do you have any places in mind?" Don asked. Cara thought for a moment. "Well, there's a nice restaurant nearby called My Place that has good sandwiches and salads. We can go there if you guys are up for it." "That sounds perfect," Michelle agreed. Don nodded in agreement. "Lead the way, Cara." Michelle jammed a cigarette between her lips as they headed towards Cara's car. She slid into the passenger seat, leaving Don to climb into the back. "Michelle, do me a favor and don't smoke in my car, please," Cara asked politely, shaking her head. Michelle rolled her eyes but reluctantly took the cigarette out of her mouth. "Fine, I won't smoke in your car, but you owe me a smoke after this whole intervention thing is over," she said jokingly. Cara chuckled as she started the car. "You got it. Let's get some food in us and mentally prepare ourselves for what's about to come." Don, Michelle, and Cara spent the drive to the restaurant in a mix of silence and light conversation. They were all lost in their thoughts, each of them probably wondering about how Marnie would react when she arrived for the intervention. Michelle spoke up, breaking the silence. "Okay, who wants to place bets on how Marnie will react when she gets here?" "Ugh, I bet she'll try to deny it at first," Cara said as she pulled into a parking spot. Michelle chimed in. "Yeah, I agree. She'll probably be all like, 'Guys, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm fine.' But deep down, she knows it's not true." Don chuckled. "Or she might just turn on the waterworks and try to guilt trip us. You know how Marnie can be." The three of them made their way into the cafe and found an empty table by the window. As they sat down, a waitress approached the table to take their orders. "Good afternoon, folks. What can I get for you today?" she asked. Michelle spoke up first. "I'll have the turkey club sandwich, please." Cara followed. "I'll have the chef salad dressed on the side, please." Don glanced at the menu quickly before ordering. "And I'll take a chicken Caesar wrap with a side of french fries." The waitress nodded and gathered their orders. "All right, got it. Your food will be out shortly. Can I get you guys anything to drink while you wait?" she asked, smiling. Michelle spoke up again. "I'll take an iced tea, please." Don said, "And I'll have a beer. Whatever you have on tap is fine." Cara finished off. "I'll take a Diet Coke." The waitress smiled. "Okay, 1 iced tea, 1 beer, and a Diet Coke. I'll be right back with your drinks." The waitress came back as she smiled cheerfully, placing their drinks on the table. Cara took a sip of her Diet Coke before speaking up. "So, any more guesses on how Marnie is going to react tonight?" "I'm sorry, but talking about all this makes me want to have a cigarette." Michelle stood up, taking her purse with her. Cara rolled her eyes. "Seriously, Michelle? Can you not go 5 minutes without a goddamn cigarette?" Michelle threw her hands up in mock surrender. "Hey, don't judge me. It's a stressful situation. A girl needs her vices." Don chuckled and shook his head. "You and your vices. You're going to go through a pack a day if you keep this up." "Who says I already don't?" Michelle whispered to herself, walking away. While waiting for their food, the conversation between Don, Cara, and Michelle drifts to their shared memories with Marnie. They reminisce about the good old days, remembering her vibrant personality before her struggles with drugs. Despite the underlining tension and nerves, the conversation remained friendly and cordial. After a few minutes, the waitress appeared with their orders. She placed their meals in front of them one by one. "Here you go, folks. Turkey club sandwich for you," she said, setting Michelle's plate down. She placed the chef salad in front of Cara and then the chicken Caesar wrap in front of Don. The trio thanked the waitress and began to dig into their food. The conversation faded into the background as they focused on satisfying their hunger. Cara took a bite of her salad and hummed with pleasure. "This is really good." Michelle nodded in agreement, taking another bite of her sandwich. "I've got to say, this is one of the best turkey clubs I've had in a while." Don chewed thoughtfully on his chicken wrap. "Yeah, the chicken is nice and tender." After a few minutes of enjoying their meals, the conversation picked back up. Cara spoke up. "I have to admit, I needed this. It's good to have a decent meal and a little distraction before the whole intervention thing." Michelle nodded. "Agreed. I just hope Marnie doesn't put up too much of a fight when she gets here." Don chimed in. "Yeah, that's my worry. Sometimes she can be really stubborn and defensive." Let's just hope we can get through to her, Cara said, taking a sip of her Diet Coke. Michelle swallowed a mouthful of chicken. If she causes a scene, I'm stepping out for a cigarette. Don rolled his eyes at Michelle. Great, just what we need. You disappearing into a cloud of smoke in the middle of an intervention. Cara took another bite and leaned back in her chair. We have to tread lightly. We can't come at her too strongly. That'll just put her on the defensive. We have to stay calm and rational. After they finished their meals, Cara paid the check. The three friends walked out of the restaurant, their stomachs full and their minds preoccupied with the upcoming intervention. Cara sighed, pulling out of the parking spot. I'm trying to figure out the best place to host this meeting. Maybe in the family room? I think there's enough space for the 9 of us. Don nodded in agreement. Yeah, the family room should be fine. It's big enough to accommodate all of us, and it feels a bit more comfortable than the dining room or something. Are we sure we're doing the right thing? I mean, we haven't even called Marnie. Maybe this is a bad idea, Michelle shrugged, looking over at Don and Cara. Don shook his head. No, we're doing the right thing. Marnie needs this. We can't just let her spiral out of control. We care about her too much just to sit back and watch. Cara pulled into her driveway and turned off the engine. The car was silent for a moment as the three friends sat in the car, taking a moment to collect themselves before entering the house. Cara fumbled with her keys at the front door, her hands trembling slightly from nerves. Finally, she unlocked the door and pushed it open. Don followed closely behind while Michelle hung back for a moment to light a cigarette before following them inside. After several hours of preparation, Cara, Don, and Michelle had everything set up in the family room. They arranged several chairs in a circle with a small table nearby for water or tissues. The room was quietly lit by the soft glow of lamps, creating a warm and comfortable ambiance. Cara looked around the room, satisfied with their setup. Everything looks good. I think we're all ready now. I just hope Marnie shows up on time. Don and Michelle both nodded in agreement. Cara texted the other members of the group to let them know they were ready. All right, and I just texted Rebecca, letting her to make her way over. Don smiled nervously. Good, Cara replied, fidgeting with her hands. The sooner the better, I guess. Michelle let out a deep sigh. Time to play the waiting game, I suppose. You know, I usually don't have the urge, but right now I do, Cara said, slipping a Newport into her mouth. I'll be right back. Don watched as Cara headed upstairs, a look of frustration on his face. You really think now's a good time to smoke? Michelle rolled her eyes. Relax, Don. A little nicotine wouldn't hurt right now. Don huffed in annoyance. You two are both awful influences on each other. You know that? Michelle smirked. Oh, come on. It's not like it's going to sabotage the intervention. We have a good hour or so before Marnie gets here. Don shook his head. I just hope Cara doesn't smoke the whole carton before Marnie gets here. Michelle chuckled and sat down on the sofa. I think you're underestimating her self-control. She can handle one cigarette. Don frowned, folding his arms. We'll see. You know how she is when she's nervous. One cigarette usually leads to another. Michelle blew out a steam of smoke. It's just a way to relax and unwind for some people, you know? Cara came back downstairs with a long ash hanging from her Newport. My bad, sorry, I had to change, she smiled. Any word from Marnie? She asked, lifting the ashtray up from the counter. Michelle chuckled and replied, No news yet, but the others should be here soon. 20 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Don and Michelle joined Cara at the door, greeting the newcomers with forced smiles. Gretchen, Julia, and Sophia. Hi! Nice to meet you all. My name is Cara. Welcome to my home. She smiled, shaking each one's hands and inviting them inside. Liz slips past the group of girls and makes her way cautiously into Cara's house. Hey, Liz! Nice to see you again, Don nodded, greeting her with a small hug. Hey, Don, Cara, Michelle. It's good to see you again, Liz nodded slowly. Good to see you. It's been a while, Michelle says, hugging her. As Marnie's friends filled into the house, the atmosphere grew tense. It was a somber occasion, and everyone knew it. Finally, Michelle broke the silence. All right, everyone's here now. We all know why we're here, so let's head into the family room. Marnie isn't here yet, as you all can see, Cara commented. But have a seat and make yourselves comfortable. Does anyone want something to drink? She asked the group. The group shook their heads, some more enthusiastically than others. Tension hung in the air as they settled into the chairs arranged in a deliberate circle. Most shifted uneasily, their nervous energies spilling into restless movements as they tried and failed to get comfortable. The doorbell rang again, and Cara hurried over to answer. She saw a tall woman standing in her doorway. Hello, I'm Rebecca, the woman said shyly. Hi, I'm Cara. Nice to meet you. Come in, Cara said cheerfully. Would you like something to drink? "I'll take an iced tea with a slice of lemon." Rebecca smiled shyly. Cara headed into the kitchen and began preparing the drink, leaving the others to converse amongst themselves.